Hello super friends and welcome to DC TV Talk. This is the show where we talk all things Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning, and of course the overall Arrowverse. Intro slightly changed today because in today's video we're going to be bringing together the news that the CW is officially putting together a Batwoman TV series to be set within the Arrowverse. So let's discuss. So yes, you heard that right, the man himself, Greg Berlanti, is officially behind a new show on the CW set in the Arrowverse revolving around the character of Batwoman. Now, of course, we are going to be introduced to Batwoman this December in the upcoming crossover for the Arrowverse, which is going to be set in Gotham City. And if you remember to a few videos back where I was talking about this, I did say that this crossover was most likely going to be a backdoor pilot for a Batwoman TV show, and I was right. So this Batwoman show is going to focus on Kate Kane, who's of course Batwoman in the comics, and she is going to be the star of this show. And one thing that they put in the press release for this is that she is also going to be an openly gay character. So this is going to be the first kind of openly gay character to be leading one of these shows, and that is an awesome thing to bring to the Arrowverse. It's going to bring in a new audience, it's going to bring in some new diversity to the show and to the Arrowverse, and this is going to be so awesome to see realized. As you can tell by my voice, I'm extremely hyped by this. I was having an extremely slow day at the office this week and today, and then within this last 15 minutes I just got this massive jolt of energy because I just found out this news and I freaked out. And this is so exciting. I'm really happy about this, and especially because of the fact that this is going to be just a new show within the Arrowverse, because obviously we got Black Lightning last season and Black Lightning was awesome, but it's not in the Arrowverse yet, and I'm sure it will be. I'm sure we will get it in the Arrowverse at some point, but for now it's completely separate. But the fact that this is going straight in and they're saying yes, it's in the Arrowverse from the offset, brilliant. Now, we have no details beyond that at this point, no story details, no character details, no casting details, no release date, nothing like that. But in terms of those things, I feel like in terms of the story, this is just going to be... I have a feeling this may be very similar to Arrow in terms of its tone. I feel like this is going to be very much like Arrow Season 1. We may see a very simple vigilante story, and that would be really cool. I'd be certainly down for that. And then in terms of the villains, I feel like we're definitely going to see some Batman villains, like some definite Batman villains. Like, I feel like Black Mask is a likely candidate for that. I'd personally like to see that. Maybe someone like the Penguin, I don't know. But definitely like a grounded Batman villain is easily going to take the limelight when it comes to this Season 1 of Batwoman. Then when it comes to the release date, I'm really not sure. Obviously, it's not going to be this year, obviously. But I feel like it's either going to be either midway through next year, but the most likely option is it's going to be October of next year, because obviously it's going to join in with the Arrowverse. It's going to want to be in line with the Arrowverse, so it's going to want to be in line with the other shows, so therefore it's going to want to start in October. Now, I did think, oh well, could they do what they did with Black Lightning, start it mid-season? They're not going to do that because obviously, again, I still feel like that's quite close, especially because they could do it, they could turn it around, but I feel like with Batwoman's introduction coming in December in the crossover, I feel like jumping straight into her own series in January when the shows come back, I feel like would be a bit quick, especially because they kind of need to judge some things based on her introduction into the Arrowverse. They kind of need to kind of understand what people like, what they don't like, and then change that for the show and adjust that for the show. So I feel like our best bet is going to be October of 2019 is when we're going to see this show be joining the Arrowverse lineup. Now, I mentioned that this show is going to be very similar to Arrow in tone, and that's because I believe this show is going to be Arrow's replacement. Arrow Season 7 is very likely at this point to be the final season of Arrow. I still believe that is what Stephen Amell's big announcement is going to be. We may find that out at Comic-Con, but I will feel like this is going to be Arrow's replacement. When Arrow goes off air in most likely October of 2019, because I don't feel it will get a Season 8, we will see a show very similar in tone and style come into the Arrowverse to keep that level of diversity there, and that show will be Batwoman. That show will come in and it will take its own spot, and it will be that show that Arrow is at the moment. And I feel like that is what this show is going to be. I mentioned this a few times in a couple of videos. I also mentioned it on the podcast where I said that this is going to be a backdoor pilot for Batwoman, and it's also going to be Arrow's replacement, because again, it's the one they can do the most similar in tone, it's the most similar in style. We're going to get some really awesome fight scenes with Batwoman, again, like we do get on Arrow with Oliver Queen. I feel like it's the most thing, it's just what makes sense to me in my head, that this is going to replace Arrow when it ends, most likely in Season 7. Now, I do feel like this show is going to be heavily connected to Arrow. Obviously, that synopsis we got, that character synopsis we got a couple of weeks ago or a couple of days ago, we said hinted towards Batwoman coming to Arrow first, could make sure that this show has a real deep connection to Arrow. And with that, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of Arrow characters actually migrate from Arrow over to Batwoman. Most likely is Felicity Smoke. I feel like Emily Bett Rickards is easily the most, easy one to bring over from Arrow, because I feel like, Batwoman, she's going to need her tech character, and if she knows Felicity, I feel like Felicity would easily come over. I just don't know why, it just makes sense in my head, and, wishful thinking, but I would love to see Oliver Queen come over and almost be like a mentor to her. I'd love that. And especially if Felicity's coming over, and it would make sense for Oliver, because, obviously they're married, of course, so it would make sense. I would love to see that, unless Oliver dies at the end of Arrow, which, isn't necessarily, a stretch to think, but and I know I'm stuttering a lot in this video, I'm just really excited. But yeah, I feel like you could see a lot of Arrow characters come over, most likely, as I say, Felicity Smoke. Overall, though, I think this is a fantastic idea. I love the idea of getting a Batwoman show in the Arrowverse, especially because this is one thing I want to digress, is that obviously this is going to be a show centered around a member of the Bat family. The Bat family is something that the DC TV universe has not been able to touch because of the show of Gotham. Fox, they own the TV rights to Batman, they also own the TV rights to Batman characters, hence why we haven't had that many in the Arrowverse ever since Gotham has begun. Obviously, we did in Season 1, Season 2 of Arrow, we got a lot of sort of D-list Batman villains who showed up, like the Clock King and things like that. And then in Season 3 they did adapt a Batman storyline for Arrow with the Ra's al Ghul thing. But after that point they didn't really do anything from Batman really that was prominent, because they couldn't, because Gotham had all those rights. But of course, as you all know, Gotham Season 5 is its final season. So after Season 5, Gotham's going to be ending. And that makes me think, is this why they're doing a Batwoman show now? Can they now have the rights to do a Batwoman show, and can they use all these different Batman characters, Batman villains? Can they use all these different characters now that Gotham is no longer on air? And personally, I feel that's the case. So don't be surprised if we see a lot of Batman characters from the Batman comics and Batman mythos show up within this show, because they are going to have the rights back, and I think that's a fantastic idea. And most excitingly, we could see Batman show up. I mean, that may be wishful thinking, and it may be, jumping the shark a little bit, but I genuinely feel, Superman showed up on Supergirl, so I feel like we could definitely have the possibility of Batman showing up on this show. Now, he doesn't have to be a main cast member. I mean, he won't be, because obviously Batman, the film division, they will never allow that. But I mean, the film division, they allowed Superman to show up for a couple episodes on Supergirl, and he shows up every now and then. I feel like you could do the same for Batman. Imagine that. We could get a CW version of Batman. It'd be absolutely incredible. Just seeing the suit, the casting, we can get like Jensen Ackles or something just to play Batman. It'd be so cool. And there's just so much they can do here. And overall, I think this is such a brilliant idea. But what do you guys think about this Batwoman show? Are you excited about it? Do you think it's a good idea? And do you think it should be in the Arrowverse, or do you think it should be separate? I mean, just let me know everything you have about this show. I just want to have a huge discussion about this, because it's going to be so cool. And I'm so excited about this. I think this is such a brilliant idea. Setting it in the Arrowverse, we're getting the introduction to Batwoman, straight away in the upcoming crossover. And even though there is some sad news that comes with it, as it is potentially the replacement show for Arrow, I still feel like this is going to be a brilliant migration, and I think this is such a good idea to launch a backdoor pilot in the form of the crossover into this new show. It's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to see more. Hopefully we may get the casting at Comic-Con. I think that's a highly likely option. We could be getting the casting for Batwoman in Comic-Con, and maybe even the first look, like concept art of the suit. That would be awesome. But let me know all your thoughts about this in the comment section down below. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It'll help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always, guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and Black Lightning. And with all that said, guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.